As a follow-up of a series of videos we'll be making about the security system of Nigeria, the total radar coverage of Nigeria, which was installed back in 2010, was meant to capture, identify aircraft in the airspace and assist air traffic controllers in guiding aircraft safely to its destination. But since its installation, the system has been dogged by inconsistent maintenance program and endless upgrades. Recently, the federal government of Nigeria moved for a comprehensive rehabilitation of the total radar coverage of Nigeria and signed a deal with the manufacturer, Thales of France. Planned upgrade of Tracton, the Nigerian radar, which was commissioned over 12 years ago, was built to cost about 4 billion naira, and 15% of the money had already been paid. The Tracton project is a major facility which has eased air navigation and the surveillance of the Nigerian airspace and also enabled real-time search and rescue operations within the country's airspace. Before the decision by the federal government of Nigeria to rehabilitate the facility, it has been marred by many problems, which includes hiccups in space replacement, inconsistency in maintenance agreement with Thales, and the fact that many of the parts have become obsolete. This has impaired efficient service delivery, that the user of the system, air traffic controllers, complained of failures in the purpose delivery of service and had at some time resorted to procedural, which is the manual guide of aircraft in the airspace. This system has its limitation. It relies on communications and no visuals due to non-use of radar. It is separation based upon the position of the aircraft, based upon reports made by the pilot over the radio. It therefore does not necessarily require the use of radar to provide air traffic control using procedural separation minima, but it reduces the aircraft in the airspace and gives rise to delays of aircraft on ground and in the airspace. It was also disclosed that Tracon, the Nigerian radar system, had a 5-year maintenance pact with Thales of France, its manufacturers, which had since elapsed. In order to save cost, the federal government of Nigeria handed over the maintenance to its indigenous engineers, which had saved the federal government billions of naira. According to the government, a whole lot of money had been saved through the action of our indigenous engineers to keep the system running. There have been significant improvement in traffic management with the radar. According to military sources, the radar is capable to see traffic up to Ghana, Yaoundé, Malabo, and many other places. The government of Nigeria also noted that the upgrade of the radar system is ongoing. Since 2010, the government have not been able to upgrade to the top sky. The upgrade is expected to improve the functionality and efficiency of the system. It will become automated and they will begin to issue information electronically, thereby reducing the workload and pressure on air traffic controllers and pilots. From the 9 locations of the Nigerian radar system, the upgrade will cover the entire nation. This is in a bid to improve the safety, efficiency and capacity of our airspace. Inside sources noted that the severing of the maintenance agreement might have saved money for the federal government of Nigeria, but it injured the capability of the Nigerian radar system because many broken and outmoded parts could not be replaced, which led to improvisation, thereby degrading the system. Insider sources also noted that due to the long time that it took to complete the installation of the radar system, and by the time it became operational, some of the parts of the equipment had become obsolete, which led to a push for constant upgrading of the system. But unfortunately, in recent times, the spare parts have become extinct because the radar system in existence now is a significant departure from what was installed in Nigeria in 2010. Currently, the radar system cannot see the sphere and line items again, so they need to upgrade the system and do a total rehabilitation of the whole equipment to be in tandem with modernity so it can effectively serve its purpose. According to an air controller who had been using the system for a very long time, he noted that from the time the equipment was put into use, there was need for upgrade because not all the functions attributed to it at inception were realized, so upgrade was taking place as the equipment continued to function. In order to efficiently deliver its service, the Nigerian radar system is being reconditioned and upgraded at the same time. An official of the agency who spoke unofficially disclosed that because of the critical role the radar system plays in airspace management, there was need to ensure that the equipment is at optimal performance. The source said that for the system to perform efficiently, there was also need to step up the rehabilitation and replace every equipment that came with it when it was installed in 2010. Sadly, while the total rehabilitation of the Nigerian radar system has started, there are fears that it may not be completed, as there is need to meet further financial commitment to complete the cost of total overhaul of the project. Industry insiders also believe that if the turnaround maintenance is not completed, The project will become obsolete and will not be able to perform its critical surveillance role, which has contributed significantly in air safety in Nigeria. There was a time when Nigerian airspace was categorized as one of the worst in Africa, comparable with many others put in the bracket. This was a horrible period in the history of aviation in the country. The years between 1999 and 2005 were horrendous for the country as aircraft were falling off the skies. Air travel became nightmarish. Many had their hearts in their mouths anytime they were billed to travel. It was not that the lack of effective coverage of the country's airspace with efficient radar was the problem, but it was part of the infrastructure decay of the country's airspace at the time. For several years, most navigational facilities were obsolete and grossly inadequate, which posed danger to air travelers. Pilots were visibly angry over poor navigational aids at most of the airports. Aerodromes suffered from a long period of neglect, poor planning, and wanton corruption that left the sector in precarious situation. Not that all the navigational issues had been tackled, but the country has made appreciable progress in that area. With the recent 40 billion naira intervention fund made possible by the current government of Nigeria, it is clear that it will go a long way to tackle some of the problems in the aviation industry. The safety of Nigeria's airways or otherwise has always been on the front burner of media discourse, even when the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency had continued to assure the country that there is no cause for alarm. To be clear, the Nigerian radar technology is divided into two, the southern and northern part. The southern part is controlled by Lagos while Kano controls the northern part. The radar system in Kano controls aircraft whether it is over Maiduguri or northwest or northeast. Lagos also controls aircraft in Obudu, Port Harcourt or towards the oceanic side. This is a long-range communication. The above preamble lays the foundation for analyzing challenges, prospects, and solutions to the communication problems the system had faced in the past, including making the multi-billion naira total radar coverage of Nigeria, otherwise known as TRACON, function maximally and expand the scope of the project or program which the Ministry of Aviation and NAMA has embarked on. One major advantage of securing Nigeria's airspace is the deployment of a modern radar system for airspace surveillance. Radar visualizes the entire airspace. Airspace managers or air traffic controllers see all the aircraft, their speed, their bearing, their distance, and their proximity, and then the aircraft controller can adequately manage each of them efficiently by turning them left or right, sending them up or down to ensure separation and accessing the airport safely. There are two types of radars, the secondary and primary radars. The secondary radar, which is in use maximally, is limited in scope and operations and only picks aircraft that have the transponder and put it on. The secondary radar that covers the whole of Nigeria requires that the aircraft is equipped with an air system and also activate it. If it is turned off, it is like having a tracker and turning it off or removing it. They can't track you. That is the way the secondary radar is. In summary, it is a cooperative radar and it requires cooperation from the aircraft. It is therefore important to note that if Nigeria desires to win the war on terror, the primary radar has become more important than ever. Primary radar can detect anybody without asking the aircraft. It detects the direction of the aircraft and the speed and displays it for the aircraft controller to see. If your equipment goes off either deliberately or by technical failure, you will still be detected by the primary radar. This is an advantage that primary radar has. Finally, the secondary radar operated by the Nigerian government is not enough. It is therefore important for the government to invest heavily on primary radars in order to secure our airspaces, which could in turn cement our status as a giant of Africa. Please drop your honest comment and tell us what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you.